Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalam ala ashraf al-anbiya wal mursaleen, amma ba'd. We're still talking about the rulings of traveling. Hukm as-sawmi Ramadan fi safar. What is the ruling of fasting Ramadan when traveling? Al-Hadith al-Tasi wa Thamanun ba'd al-Miyah. The 189th Hadith.
عن أبي الدرداء رضي الله عنه قال خرجنا مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في شهر رمضان في حر شديد حتى إن كان أحدنا لا يضع يده على رأسه من شدة الحر وما فينا صائم إلا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعبد الله بن رواحة. From the authority of Abi Darda radiallahu anhu called, he said, we went out with the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in the month of Ramadan in the intense heat, until one of us was to place his hand on his head.
He would place his hand on his head.
He would place his hand on his head from the intense heat, and there was none amongst us, woman fina, fasting except the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and Abdullah ibn Rawaha.
No. Abu Darda radiallahu anhu said, خرجنا مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في شهر رمضان. I'm only repeating it for maybe in case your voice was soft, right? خرجنا مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في شهر رمضان في حر شديد. We left out with the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم in the month of Ramadan in extreme heat. Har, heat, shadid, extreme. Hatta, or intense heat. Hatta in kana ahaduna, until one of us, he would, la yada'u. Lam here is of emphasis, right? Yada'u from waw, dad, ain, to place. Yada'u, yadahu, he would place his hand ala ra'sihi, min shiddatil har, from the intense heat, from the extremity of the heat, right? Meaning you put his hand over his head like this, blocking the heat, or something like this, trying to give himself some type of shade from the heat, right? وَمَا فِينَا صَائِمٌ, and there was no one amongst us fasting, إِلَّا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ وَعَبْدُ اللَّهِ ibn Rawaha. No one's fasting amongst us except the Prophet, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Abdullah ibn Rawaha. May Allah be pleased with him. He's got a full story, Abdullah ibn Rawaha. Min fawaidi wa ahkam al-hadith, from the virtues and benefits and the rulings of the hadith.
جواز فطر المسافر في رمضان. The permissibility of breaking the fast of the traveler in Ramadan.
نعم جواز الفطر مسافر في رمضان. Right, جواز الفطر, that's مضاف مضاف إليه, and فطر مسافر مضاف مضاف إليه. في رمضان, because Ramadan is ممنوع من الصرف. We've been reading it with a fatah the whole time. It's been majrur almost the whole time, right? رمضان. ثانيا
أن الصوم أفضل له إذا كان لا يشق عليه. That fasting is better for him if it's not difficult upon him.
No, if it's not creating a hardship for him, لا يشق عليه, if it's not difficult or creating a hardship, no. ثالثا
أن الحذر من أسباب الضرر لا ينافي كمال التوكل على الله تعالى. That al-hadr, I'm not sure what that means.
Al-hadr, being aware or being weary of,
from the reasons of harm.
أسباب الضرر, the causes of harm.
The causes of harm. لا ينافي, I'm not sure what that means. It's not beneficial to complete.
La yunafi, doesn't negate.
Doesn't negate.
I got lam and nafia, the lam which negates something, right? La yunafi.
It does not negate the complete trust upon Allah.
No. Yeah. So why weren't they fasting? They didn't want to get sick. It was extremely heat. They didn't want to get sick. They didn't want to pass out. They didn't want to harm themselves. That don't mean they didn't have tawakkul ala Allah. All the Sahaba were weak. Right? Look at this. Abu Darda, he was weak because him and those who were with him, they weren't fasting. But The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abdullah and Rawaha, they were strong. No, doesn't mean they were weak in iman because they didn't fast. They took the precautions and they didn't fast because they didn't want to harm themselves. And it doesn't deny the fact that they didn't trust in Allah. Oh, Allah will keep me alive. No, it's extremely hot out here. I need to break my fast. No problem. Question?
You said there's a benefit from one of his stories.
No, his whole story is beneficial. He's got a beautiful story. One of his stories is, you might have heard it in the khutbah by someone who's famous in America, famous in UK from America. He said the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam one time during the khutbah said, "Sit down." And Abdullah bin Rawaha was outside of the masjid. He didn't even see him, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't see him, but he sat down until the end of the khutbah. After it's over, he came by and said, "What are you doing out here?" He said, "I heard you say sit down." He wasn't even talking to him, but just shows the obedience that Abdullah bin Rawaha, And he has another story during the time of Omar. His obedience and stuff is amazing, man. Radiallahu anhu. هذا والله تعالى أعلم وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.